be careful what you wish for. Painter was still struggling to rein in the various agencies to get everyone moving as a team. It had left little time for him to think, only react, to put out fires where he could. So he took advantage of this momentary calm, knowing that this was only the proverbial eye of the hurricane. I should go down and check on Lisa. It had been hours since he'd last visited her. Not that talking through a window was the same as holding her. She had looked a ghost of herself even back then. He knew what drove her to such a ragged edge. Josh was getting worse, and there remained no effective treatment on the horizon. He shoved his chair back, ready to comfort her as best he could, when the door opened. It was the Marine who had been assigned as his aide, a straight-laced young woman in a crisp uniform and cap named Jessup. "Director Crow," she said. "I have Ranger Beck on the line." She said, "It's urgent." "That's the call through." He had spoken only briefly to Jenna and Drake after they returned from Yosemite. So far, the pair remained in good health and had likely avoided exposure. It was a small bit of good news in an otherwise bad day, especially as there remained no word from Gray's team in Antarctica, not since he had reached that British ice station. So far, Kat was not overly worried, reporting that a massive solar flare was compromising communication across most of the southern hemisphere. Hopefully they'd hear something from Gray soon. In the meantime, he picked up the phone. "Director Crow here." "Sir," Jenna did sound agitated. "I just remembered something that might be important." He sat up straight. "What is it?" "Back at the cabin, before I broke in, before I heard Amy's last plea for help, I heard a cell phone ringing inside. After everything that followed, I forgot to mention it." "Are you sure it was a cell and not the cabin telephone?" "I'm sure. Maybe it was someone checking up on her. An accomplice? Someone who hired her? I don't know." "But that makes no sense. We recovered Serpry's cell phone and personal belongings from the cabin before it was sealed up. Everything was thoroughly examined. I personally reviewed the LUDs pulled from her phone, hoping for some outside connection like you mentioned. And there was nothing significant. A few calls to relatives and friends. But more important, there's not a single incoming or outgoing call placed in the past 24 hours from that cell phone. Even if she hadn't picked up, the call attempt would have shown up in those line usage records." There was a long pause on the line. "I'm sure it was her cell phone," Jenna said firmly. "Someone was attempting to reach her." Painter had learned a healthy respect for the Ranger and took her at her word. "I'll have a technician look over that phone again." If Jenna was right, and if those records had somehow been erased or corrupted, such an action had to be significant. It would certainly suggest that last call had been placed by one of Serpry's cohorts, possibly even by whoever was pulling her strings. "We may have given us a new lead," Painter admitted. "Good. And if anything turns up, I want to be involved in